Hey YouTube, Sam here. Well, did your window fall down on your '02 Buick Rendezvous while you were driving down the road? Well, it did on my wife. So that's what we have this in here for. I've had it taped up for a little while, just to keep the cold out for now until I could get to it. But I also took off the door panel. So if you want to know how to take off the door panel, you're gonna have to go watch that video. It'll be a separate video. Anyhow, now we got to dig into this, look in the door, and see what kind of parts and pieces have broke or need replaced. Way back here. Stuck my head in there. And that is what's fallen off or broke here. Just laying down on the bottom of the door. I'm actually curious if this broke. Yeah, there's broken pieces of plastic. A couple days later, and I believe we ended with pulling this off of here and getting more parts out of here. We need to take this track out of here. This whole track system is going to come out. There's going to be a motor over here with like a track piece, kind of like this. Then there's this one, and then in the middle you got these floppy cables here. From what I've seen, it looks fairly easy to get these out, but I can tend to make things look harder sometimes, so we shall see. Something I do know actually is the window, one of these sides on the windows actually is not broken, or it's holding the window somewhat, so I might have to let this down so that I can get to the piece and get it off of the camera spotted. But regardless, we're going to move forward. I got the window taped up out of my way. I do not believe that the piece that's on the window is going to hurt anything right now, and we have a bunch of 10mm nut or bolts we got to pull out of here. Appears to be one here, another one straight over right above the regulator mechanism here, the motor up there, and then one down at the bottom of the motor here. And it looks like there might be two more, one on the right hand side and one right below that down on the bottom corner of the door. I'm not sure about this one here. Probably going to wait to take that one out until that might be for something completely different. So I think I'm going to hold off on this one over here. Go ahead and take loose. And I'm just going to start with this one here, because the motor is going to be the heaviest part. So I'm going to save that till last. All the rest can kind of hang on its own, I think. Oh. Alright, be careful dropping this top one here, because it's not going to actually fall down into the door. It's just going to fall in. There's like a track right here. So I'm going to go right now and grab a magnet and get that out of there before that moves in. I was able to get this off, and I just stuck a magnet down in there and grabbed a hold of it. One thing of note, up in the top ones look to be this whatever coated screws here, and they're definitely different length, well, about the same length, just different colors. So pay attention. This has got a little bigger washer on it and stuff on the bottom. The top one has a smaller one. No big whoop, but try and get things back where they go. These top ones also apparently have Loctite on them. Well, I think that'll allow both tracks to come loose just by those four there. So I don't believe this gray one over here is hooked to anything I need to get to right now anyway. Now there is appears to be a bolt right here hooking the motor on, and then I think we're going to have it all the way loose. So first thing I'm going to do is actually unhook the motor from power here, and that was kind of a pain, even though it's a fairly easy one. This door is just very tight right now. It's never been messed with, I can tell you that right now. So we're gonna go ahead and, if you can see that, unhook that right there. And we're just gonna loosen this one Okay, note how that fell, and there's definitely an impression right here where this has been tightened up here. Make sure you get it back to that point, because that may or may not mess with your alignment. It is attached to this rail on this side, so that might help you get it aligned where you need it. And there are also some, you know, alignment marks up here, so try and get the screws back where they go, because your alignment it'll help you line your window up better after that. You may have to adjust some stuff when we're all done, but that's just a note. This one, it does appear though, I can just pop this loose and then pull it out like that. Okay. I'm just assuming it's all going to come out through the big hole. And this stuff is kind of nice compared to a lot of old school ones, because it does seem to bend and maneuver and move around. And there we go. She's all out. That just sits right in there like that. Note the way all the cables are going. Note, you know, colors if you need to. Whatever you need to note to remember how this goes back in. Because to fix this, I'm not sure, but we may have to pull some stuff apart. I have to get parts, because I have not ordered parts yet. So when I get parts back, we'll be fixing this and putting it back in. I hope. Alright, I lied. I'm already back, because I noticed something on here as far as replacing parts. Come up along here, and on both sides there's this piece right here. It's a little barrel nut type thing that the piece has to hook into, that we're fixing. And on both sides you can see where it's gone too far and actually gotten up inside of the pulley here, and that is probably why it broke. Is that whatever these safety stops come up here and hit this all the time, and that's what stops the window. Well, they're cheap plastic crap. This part here is probably a lot harder than it, and it comes up, it smacks it and starts breaking it down little by little until this happens, and then it keeps going and breaks it off the rest of the way. Just assumptions there, but doesn't take rocket science. Anyway, so I have plugged this back in, and I'm hoping I can not do any more damage. Well, as my everything goes off. Alright, so I got my key on. I had to stop the camera for a little bit there because the radio was on, windshield wipers were going, heater's on. I'm not worried about that, but I don't want to get in trouble for copyright infringement or something like that. So I got everything on. We're being careful because we have an open battery and open electronics, but let's see, I want to probably go, I'm thinking down, because the last thing we would have tried to do was probably roll up. So, yep. Oh, okay, there we go. I don't know if you heard that pop. It actually was stuck up in here. So, I'm going to go ahead and roll this down right to the middle, kind of there, somewhere in that area. I'm hoping that these barrel things are where they're supposed to be. And I'm going to leave it there for now. If I have to come back out and adjust it, I can adjust it more. Just plug it in and do the same thing. But for now, that's where I'm going to leave it. Just thought I'd show that because you're going to need to be able to get access to these. And obviously that was jammed up. I'm glad it didn't knock everything off the rails, because so far I haven't had to pull this part of it apart. I'm trying to avoid that. A few days later, and we've got parts here. I only need 2 of these, but there was 4 for less than $7 Amazon. I will try and find all the parts prices and numbers or whatever, but if you look for the 2 Buick Rendezvous and look for the door window, I don't even remember what they're called. Like I said, it'll be below, and they'll come in the mail, and hopefully we can flip this over and fix it. So this is how it is in your door here. We need to flip it over and find these little barrel nuts here. Alright, and this is that little barrel nut thing I was talking about right here. Now it could be anywhere along this rail. along with the other rail. I'm going to open these up. Quite honestly, I'm not absolute positive exactly how things go here. I got the broken piece right here, so I'm going to kind of compare them. And right off the bat, they don't look completely identical, but hopefully this will work. So I'm going to have to get this off of here and put it onto this metal piece here. And I'm going to have to grab the one out of the window as well. Well, we got our part off the window here. That's the one from the window. This is the one that was down in the door. So figuring out where this is, this one needs to be over here if I want to use the same parts, and this one over here. So therefore I have them the same. And these are kind of coming out, so I'm just going to set it to the side for now. It appears like pulling this apart isn't going to help this come off, but at least it'll kind of get it out of my way. So I'm going to pull these all the way off, figure out how to get these plastic pieces on here. Alright, so we got our piece here, and once again I didn't break this one loose. I gotta look and make sure. So this goes down, so the pointy part sticks up like that. So that, yep. So this part goes on this way. And we're hoping we can just slide it over. I don't know if you can see those. There's two little bumps, one right here and one right here, and it sits in between those bumps right there. And I gotta make sure I'm putting it the right direction. That looks like it should look. Well, I got a couple more chances. If for some reason this goes wrong, I'll figure something else out. Now the next step is, I guess, just run this window down and hope it just falls in where it needs to go. And we shall see. I'm really wondering if I got the wrong ones here. I would think they need to be out here further. Also, yep. Darn it. Something's wrong here, and I don't know exactly what it is. But these are supposed to be outboard, not inboard like they are right now. So I messed up. I probably won't show any of the mess up other than this part right here, so that when I pull this back out and have it back on the table, I can do it the right way and show you how to do it the right way. I will tell you how I screw up, but I'm not going to always show you how I screw up, because I want to show you how to do it, not how not to do it. Well, YouTube, I was able to pry this off here without hurting it or damaging it too much. Now I could just flip it around and do what I need to do, but I'm going to keep this as a spare, and I'm going to go ahead and grab these new ones. I already put one on here. Let's see if I can find a better way of doing this here. And I'm going to pull this one off just to make sure that these are exactly the same, because I don't know, technically that needs to go like that, but yet again that puts that on the inside, so this needs to go this direction like this. I put this the way it is in the door just to make sure I know this needs to face up, the rubber part needs to face up, and it's got to go into that one like that one. Same on the other side. Put that one in there like that. Now those got to shove in further, but now I can flip it over, and I know I'm going the right direction here. So that's like that, that's like that. Now I'm going to, just for kicks and giggles, trade them to see if there's any there. That's the difference right there. Okay, so these are a specific side. And the reason I know that is because I was trying to figure out why with this one, these little bumps that hold in here and here were on the other side. So they were going to be on the bottom side. And when I took that other one off, I knew for sure that these little bumps right here were hooked in between here and here. They kind of hook right here and here on this side of it. And that was what was mainly confusing me. So when I switched, if you recall earlier in the video, hopefully that part will make it in there and you'll see that. But I switched them around thinking that it didn't really matter. And I remember saying, well, I thought this one went on this side, but it couldn't. And then I switched them around and got them confused. So therein lies so you don't get confused. There's this piece here goes right there, and then it flips over like that. Then the little barrel nut that's right here goes into here. I'll show you that when I hook it up for the last time. So that's like that. Then I know that these right here, they're little bumps right here and here, go on this side facing up towards these pieces that are pointing up here. And that is going to go in that way. And I'm going to pull this off and just kind of push down on it. Don't get your finger in between there because that kind of hurt. So keep on pushing on it and it'll just kind of snap into place. There we go. And that just snapped in there. This is up against there. Alright. Now, with hope and prayers, this should go like that. Alright, so we're going to put that there. We got the barrel nut right there. I used a screwdriver, seems to help a little bit. I did last time anyway. There we go. And that pops into there. Hoping you saw that because I'm not going to mess with it anymore. I already messed with these more than enough. And these are on the right side to tighten up. Here's something here. This moves around quite a bit. Right here. You got to make sure that there's a little piece of metal that sticks up here that the bottom of this hole goes through. And this keeps turning on me too. I'm going to tighten this up until that's kind of snug on there for now. Just because last time that one of those popped out and it was kind of a pain to get it right. And then we'll have to loosen it up to put the window in, but with the window pressure on there, that should hold that in there hopefully. I'm going to do the same thing with the other side. Same as the other side. I'm going to try and do this so that hopefully you can see it. Okay, so I'm just going to do this one all the way pretty much, and then I'm taking the screwdriver with the barrel nut and pulling that out, and that should, if you get it in the right spot, pop down in there. I put it on this bolt here first where the motor goes. Then I got these two bottom ones in. I went ahead and used some of this Permatex Loctite stuff. It's a new one I hadn't seen before, but it's kind of cool. It's orange thread locker. It's high strength but removable. So it's supposed to be kind of similar to the blue but be higher strength from kind of what I can get out of it. But I went ahead and put some Loctite on those. The top ones already had some Loctite on them, it appears, or some sort of coating from before, so I'm going to go ahead and do that as well. Duct tape on there, put that in there, and that just kind of holds it real well. And I'm going to stick those in. Well, that's more like it. That came down right where it needed to. And then in this one, on this side, I had there was a sticker thing on there like that I had to pop out. I tried peeling it off and I couldn't get it. So you can kind of see down there, that's the actual bolt that you have to tighten to squeeze the the window in on there. So that's about the only way I can see to get through here. But I can get a wrench on that. So you got to kind of feel your way with that one. Make sure the window is where it needs to be. I'm going to get these ones down in there and tighten them up. Now here's where you get to decide how tight you want it. I'm going to do it as loose as I feel I can without the window popping off. And I'll play with it a little bit and make sure that bring it up and down for a little while to make sure it's going to stay where it needs to stay. So you can see the window goes all the way down. It's not sticking up anywhere here. That's a good sign with it all the way down. Now we're going to try and go all the way up and see where we go. I don't know what all you're going to be able to see now. When I get close to the top here, I'm going to just bump it and make sure nothing falls off. Everything looks like it's going to go where it's supposed to go. Here's a little bit of a... So quite honestly, I didn't like the sound of that. Sounded like when it hit the top, something kind of popped a little bit. So I'm going to loosen these actually. See if it settles itself a little bit. Go up again here. I'm actually going to bring it up. Okay, there. Whoa. Now it's wanting to stick, so I need to bring it down. I'll try it again, see if it rolls up without any binding. That's the main. Now, I can already see one problem we're having here. As I can tell, this window actually needs to go back that way from the tint. I can see the tint, so I think I need to bring the window that direction. And this is part of windows. You have to kind of mess with them a little bit until they get to where they need to be. This is not as bad as the old days when every single thing in here had to be adjusted exactly the same or things didn't move. This at least has some, I don't know, movement, so to speak. Alright, after a little bit of fang dangling, it wants to go all the way up. And it goes all the way down without anything sticking up too much over here. It's a little bit high back here, but I think that's just the way it is, because I think what really helped was looking at where this window tint is actually at. Looking at the window tint across this edge, I can see it's going up and down right kind of where it needed to be, so I'm happy with that. Alright, well, that was a fairly easy job that I made look difficult. Alright, YouTube, well, I yet again made something that was fairly easy a little bit harder, but I like to show my mistakes so that you don't have to make them like I did. I looked up, down, and sideways and didn't see very many real detailed videos on this, so hopefully this one's a little more detailed and will help you guys all out. A couple of things. One, had I been thinking, I would have lubed up the inside of this before I put it all back together, but I wasn't. But I have seen a video where the guy actually lubed the tracks, which is more what the window's touching going up and down, so I'm actually going to spray some lube in there later on. Second thing, I thought these windows were tinted factory, and it turns out that somebody put this tinting on. You can see all kinds of, now that I kind of washed it off, I can see all kinds of where they didn't do a very good job of cleaning it. And when I put the tape on here, I screwed up the window tint up here. So be real careful. If you have window tint, if you're holding your windows up, try and figure out a different way to hold your windows up. Because I tried kind of using a razor blade and scraped it up. I really kind of bunged up the inside of this window to the point where I may have to go find out about getting maybe some new tint over here. But regardless, all in all, the rest of it's all the way you should do it. Just be careful with your tape. On the outside of the window, I was able to use razor blade and soap and pull it off just like I normally would. So if you don't have tint on your windows, just a little bit of Windex or soap and water and a razor blade will get any of the residue off on the windows real easy. In fact, that's a pretty good way of actually cleaning your windows. But that's beside the point. I did bung this up. Otherwise, door panel's back on, the windows going up and down. Well, I hope. Yeah, windows going up and down. That scared me for a minute. So, I'm pretty happy with that. And really, all in all, to do this whole thing, took mostly a 10mm, a couple screwdrivers, and less than $8 worth of parts. And I got a couple extra ones down the road if some others break. So all in all, that's a pretty cheap fix. It's actually very easy if you don't screw up and put things on backwards. But hopefully this showed you something. This is Sam, jack of all and obviously a master of none. You all have a good one.